Here we go then, game 2 of day 2 of leg 3, China against Singapore. China yesterday, they beat Thailand 31-0. Then they went on to lose to Kazakhstan, 0-0 draw. Singapore had a big defeat to Kazakhstan, 41-0. Then they lost 12-0 to Thailand, so yet to score a try this weekend. Singapore looking to avoid last place on the log, and China, well, they need to score 41 points difference over Singapore to avoid Japan in the semi-final. Can they do it? Well, of course they can, but they've got to get past Singapore. They may not have scored a try, but they are a battling team that put everything into their efforts on the field. A lot of it's on defence. They don't have the attacking prowess of a lot of teams. They spend a lot of time without the ball, and they work very hard for each other when they don't have the ball. Alvinia Ao Young gets us underway and drills that one nice and low to Ma in 1. And China know they've got a job ahead of them here if they want to avoid Japan in the semi-final. Here they go, chucking it wide, those beautiful trademark passes of theirs. Here's Yang calling back on the inside, and nice fend there from Wang Wei Yan. And this, they look all business, don't they? Looks like Singapore backline very flat there, and breaking the line. She's through as Zhang Hoi Hoi. And we saw her in the Hong Kong opening leg. She was dynamic. We haven't seen much of her this weekend, but she just bursts through there, infiltrates Singapore territory, and straight over with the 2 points. So they're in with a quick 7, China, and that's what the coach would have been asking for.
Well, the strong frame of Zhang Hoi Hoi. Look at this. It just straightens up, change up on pace. And as stubborn as we know that Singapore will be, they may eventually only be stones in the way of the Chinese wagon when it gets going.
See the thighs on Zhang there. She's an athlete. She is powerfully built, and she's very quick. She can step off both feet. She's got a fend. And there she is. She's actually locking up the front row there, you see. What a weapon to have in your side. So a mistake by Singapore, not handling the restart, and here come China. Coming round on the outside, but Eunice Chu does enough to slow things down. Wang Yu fires that one inside. Zhang again, look at these wide passes. Going sideways runners, Wu, she beats the tackle, she breaks Jane Chan, and she brings it round for another quick try. Very, very proficient so far. Second try of the tournament to Wu.
It really is going to be the ball movement. It's going to be the secret to the Chinese performance here. Conversion not successful, but it's just their ability to open up or the Singaporean defence and create the one-on-one space that they're going to be so effective at dealing with. They've got a lot of pace. That move worked quite well last time. The cut ball was she gave it, and this time with the extra yards on the outside, spotted the space and pinned the ears back. Good score for China.
A little bit deeper restart there from China. Chan Jiayu tidies that one up, and a little bit of indecision there, and piling in goes Ma. Just seizing the indecision there, Chinese defence. Alvinia Ao Young comes up. He's going to plug the touch line. Picks up 10 to 15 metres only. And they're up against a very well-organised Chinese line-out, so just winning their ball back from this set piece will be challenge number 1. Jane Chan gets it in, and it's gone a bit wayward. Yep. There's a little breeze there that might have floated that across the Singapore line. China with the option. They go for the scrum.
Well, China, they've got some stars. Number 11, Wang Yu showed yesterday that she may very well be one to watch for the future. Young, but my word, has she got pace. And she's a real competitor. She's got a little bit more time to put some weight and strength on that frame, but she could be quite a useful player once fully developed.
Straightening up goes Wu Juan and beats the tackle again. Goes in for try number 2. Hasn't she started this morning off with some real vigour? Second try for her. Twice just brushing tacklers aside.
They've got Singapore fully stretched, and tackles that we saw Singapore pull off late yesterday against teams a bit more evenly matched. They can't pull it off on these Chinese girls. Too strong.
Yang Shu gets that one a little bit deep. Wang Yu rides Singapore to the ground, and 3 players on hand to blow over there. Here goes Zhang. Steps off the right twice, and she's going to look for her second. Yeah, Ong's not going to catch her. It's the Zhang and Wu show right now. 4 tries. They're up to 26 already. This is a brutal performance by China here. Such is the incentive to avoid Japan in the semi-final.
That's fascinating, isn't it? She played extraordinarily well also in Hong Kong, and it's just standing start strength that is so hard to contain for defences, and they're just slamming the points home at the moment.
This is one of the best halves of women's rugby we've seen this weekend, by one side anyway. There's only one side in it. Zhang there just pushing low off the ball. Gave her a good shove in the back. Wu fires it wide to Lu. She goes on a searching run. Calls back in the runners, and they're just having their way at the moment. Ma picks and goes. Ong with the tackle. Inside to Yang. There's no one in front of her. It's an absolute try fest here, a meat pie fest, as we close in on the 7 minutes. 5 very industrious tries. Remember, they're looking for 41 points or more.
Oh, they're on a bullet to try and get that now, China. Conversion is successful, and they're just confidently tearing this Singaporean defence to shreds. I know that Singapore can be doggedly determined as the halftime score brings up 33 points to 0. China just putting a real job onto Singapore. And it might sound one-sided, and that's because it is one-sided at the moment. So take a look at these first half tries. Just good ball out in front. Here's the pass that, well, the nice dummy move. 3 Singaporean players in that last shot. Second try, striding straight through the tackles of the Singapore defenders. And the hits just kept on coming for China. Oh gee, they've hit the ground looking very, very tidy this morning. We saw them outside the front of the hotel prior to coming down to the ground today. As the social media channels come up on the screen on Facebook, you can follow us at asia.rugby. There's some terrific work being done online for Asia Rugby worldwide at the moment. Asia Rugby Live on Instagram. It's becoming a real favourite of mine. And Asia Rugby on Twitter. Follow all the happenings, the headlines coming out of Asia Rugby at Asia Rugby. Asia Rugby online, live all the time. It's a big old territory. There's plenty of rugby happening. Second half action almost underway.
Well, the biggest score we saw yesterday was 46-0 Japan over Korea. This sort of form by China really have the Japanese watching the videotape carefully. Here come Singapore. Rear ball. Eunice Chu takes that one forward. Pops it up to Low here. She gets barreled back. And penalty on the 22 for Singapore. Going in off their feet. So they slow down this China freight train for just a moment. Ma with the tackle. It's loose. Huge tackle coming in from Wang Wei Yan. They get up, dust themselves off and come back again, Singapore. Eunice Chu takes that one in. Here's Alvinia Aoyong. Chan looking, probing. Wang trying to rip that one out. Look at Wang going in there with the counteract. She's a demon. She gives nothing to anybody at any time, and she's won the penalty there. We saw that yesterday. Goes in like a torpedo. And they go quickly through Yang. She beats the tackle, flailing arms. Sim's not going to catch her, and they resume service in the second half after weathering a few phases from the Singapore attack. And that is classic defence from Wang.
Well, forever closing in on that point margin you were talking about, Boozer. Just strength and aggression and focus from China as they keep wailing away at Singapore. And Singapore have barely had enough time to sweat here at the moment. All they've done is felt the breeze of the Chinese players as they've blown right by.
That's 2 tries apiece to Zhang, Yang and Wu. And they've worked their way up to 38 points to 0. They just need one more score, basically, and to shut Singapore out. And just to remind the viewers, the situation, aside from trying to win this leg, which is also very important, China have already qualified for the World Series starting in November. The next 3 top finishers in this tournament will qualify for the World Series Sevens qualifiers in Hong Kong during the Hong Kong Sevens weekend. And those 3 teams will get a shot at qualifying for the World Series next season. So at this stage, that would look like Japan, Hong Kong and Kazakhstan. But first and foremost, everybody wants to win a cup event, and this sort of form here by China, well, and the form we've seen from Kazakhstan as well, I think later on today we're going to see some cracking semis and finals. Aoyong now chips it through. The sweep is up quite shallow. Herring back after this one goes Lu. Goes down on it, looks up. There's only one defender, so a bit of a crooked chase, a dog leg. Here's Wang Yu. That one just going forward in contact there, a little rare mistake from her. And they managed to turn it over Singapore. And if they could score one themselves, that would upset the apple cart a little bit for China. They'd have to double time it. Just a little indecision there again, that time from Eunice Chu. Just a wave, a wall of red coming up at you. The Great Wall of China, you might say, coming at you at 100 miles an hour. Gonna have some
sense of urgency that China started the game with. It's actually gone a little bit off the ball since half time. And here's some smart play now by the Singaporean coaches. Just trying to disrupt this constant flow of points from China. They've made a few changes. They've created a couple of stoppages. Just whatever they can do to throw China off their rhythm. You can see China perhaps a little bit too focused on getting those 40 points. Gotten so close now. They really just need to stick to their guns. 38 points to 0. That win will come, and so will the differential. Get the feeling though, it's starting to get a bit foggy upstairs for the Chinese.
Yeah, sometimes you can try too hard, I guess. Singapore just hanging in there, looking for their opportunity. Trying to win the penalty there again through good defence. Here's Wang Wei-Yan. They've got literally 7 players there that could break the line at any time.
I don't think it's long before we see this lady have a go at the line, Wang Yu.
Here she goes, 2 tries already. It's Wu. Breaks the line, Wu, and what a hat-trick from her. Very, very impressive performance. And just as we said, any one of them could break the line, but it's Wu for the hat-trick. There it is. There's the magical margin they were looking for. Player of the match performance from Wu.
Conversion successful, and again that try set up for China. Nice snappy passing. Great ball here from Wang, the last pass, and it's just put Wu into good space. She's made the most of it. Singapore left to consider what they may do in the next game. That margin's been achieved. Wu takes a seat on the bench as number 6, Zhao Yan, takes the field. China in dominating position, looking to improve.
Good morning to everybody joining us on the Facebook feed. Great having you with us. 24 games ahead today. We're into game 3. Game 2. Here's a card. Good to have you with us. If you're in Sri Lanka, you should be coming down here. If you're in Colombo, if you're not, doesn't matter. It's great having you with us. Bit of rain overnight. Nice firm track though. It's not as hot as we've come accustomed to in Sri Lanka. The sun is out today. The ref getting in the road there into the last minute. China with a whopper on their hands. 45. Singapore just been suffocated out of this game with a single-minded performance from China. China with one in the bin will just be hoping not to concede a try here. With a player down, that would upset everything and spoil all the hard work they've done. Singapore not really with the strike players able to get on the outside or even through the middle. Just out physiqued across the park. And they have a final chance there from just inside their own half. They go wide early to give Ong a chance. And just like that, 3 or 4 red shirts get over there and stamp that one out. Look at the work going in there at the counter ruck. Players on their feet, reaching in there. We see it again, the big exaggerated air time, giving it lots of air there, and that was Zhao Yan in 6 there. She's forced a turnover. And with time up on the clock now, can they put one more in to score 50? Here's Ma. Steps in easily. Oh, and good footwork, good balance. The covering defence just screaming across to try and cut her off at the corner. And how many times in this game, Jed, we've just seen the footwork, the stepping off one or both feet from China to defeat that last defender. Tremendous stuff. 50 on the board.
Yeah, without sounding unkind to Singapore, it's a different class of athlete they're up against at the moment. The Singaporean players, strong, physical. They don't mind the contact, but it's very, very hard to chase a side like China when they go into ghost mode. They move the ball so well, they play with such width, they have extraordinary pace, and then you've got, well, just the competitive spirit. China 52, Singapore 0. Final score, the Asia Rugby 7 Series, and China advances